Hi, I'm David Baldacci, the author of the Atlee Pine series. In this video, I'm going to talk about the women who've inspired Atlee Pine. The books in the Atlee Pine series so far are the first one, Long Road to Mercy, the second one, A Minute to Midnight, the third one, Daylight, and a fourth and as yet untitled novel that I just finished that'll be out in November of 2021. Atlee Pine is a female FBI special agent. I sort of created her from a number of characters that I've thought about over the years, a number of female federal agents that I've met over the years who are dynamic and have to work twice as hard as the guys to get to the same level. It's just the way the world is because the world of federal agencies, law enforcement agencies are pretty much male dominated. I remember growing up in Richmond, Virginia and reading Patricia Cornwell, Kay Scarpetta, who was the chief medical examiner of Virginia. She was the one who performed the autopsies, but she was also a detective. She got out in the trenches and she investigated and worked with lots of stuff. And one of her main partners was Pete Marino, who was a detective in the Richmond police force. And she just was a fully fleshed out, dynamic character. And after a while, you forgot about the fact that she was female. She was just an incredible character that drove the narrative of all these stories. And there's a little bit of her in sort of Atlee's mental makeup, her just tenacity, and her she just won't give up. She just keeps fighting until she gets to the truth. There's also a little bit of another fictional detective, Kenzie Milhome by Sue Grafton. Sue Grafton passed away a couple of years ago. She was a dear friend. She was a fantastic writer. She wrote wonderful books, some of the best books you'll ever read in any genre. So Kenzie Milhome was a private detective operating perpetually in the 1980s. It was kind of cool that, she'd have to stop and call from a payphone, or there was a fax, but no computers, no internet, no smartphones. But she was really tenacious as well. She wasn't overly large or physically imposing, but she kept digging and digging and digging until she got to the truth, and she often beat the guys at their own game. She was a really compelling, fully fleshed out character as well. There was also a real-life detective that I read about while I was putting together the character of Atlee Pine and her assistant, Carol Blum. And this real-life character might have been more of an influence on Carol Blum. Her name was Isabella Baldwin. She was the very first female detective in New York City's Detective Bureau back in the early 1900s. She started out as a matron. She was a widow. Her husband was a police officer. She raised 4 kids while she was working as a detective with the New York City Police Department. And she did it all. She served about 28 years on the police force. She broke some really big cases. She went undercover to bust a robbery ring. So she was just really, can you imagine a female detective back in the early 1900s, all the obstacles she had to overcome, highly successful, had a fantastic career. So I thought about her and read about her while I was putting together the characters of Atlee Pine and also Carol Blum. And lastly, I have to say, I probably threw a little bit of Wonder Woman into Atlee Pine as well. She's physically intimidating. You read a lot of books, with the main character, the guy is like physically intimidating. He can beat everybody up. So I thought, why just limit that to men? Women can be pretty damn intimidating as well. She's tall, she's strong, she works out a lot because she wants to be strong for her job. She wants to be physically fit to be able to do her job. She's just a wonderful mix of lots of different pieces of people I've met over the years, my imagination, things that I've read about. I just wanted to make her this, human being. She seems like a machine sometimes, but she's flesh and blood. She makes mistakes. She's vulnerable. She has a lot of emotional baggage. But at the end of the day, she works really hard because her job is to find the truth and put away bad people, and that's all she really cares about. Now, in the Atlee Pine series, she's also looking for her long-lost twin sister, Mercy Pine. She was kidnapped a long time ago, over 30 years ago. In the series of these books, there's also an unconnected mystery where she's working on a project or a mystery or a case. But in every book, she's also looking for her sister, and that search will culminate in the 4th novel that'll be out in November of 2021, where you learn everything that happened to Mercy Pine and also to Pine's family. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and keep reading.